hear you starting it all over again.
I think you got to do your own intro because there's no music on this. So now you got to sing along, Steve. Go bump bump, ba da da bump bump, da 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 bump bump, da 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 bump, bump bump. There was no audio on this.
Bruce, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, well, what happened?
I don't know. I guess there was no audio on that intro.
Yeah,
That's what happened when you put together an intro in the last 15 seconds before the show goes on.
it's. Oh, listen to Kellen there. Kellen there wrote, "Good job, Bruce." You know, and that's what's cool about this. And no matter what happens, I could always blame it on you. You do a good man.
Bump bump.
Bum 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 bum. Anyway, hello folks, and welcome to Hey, I'm Talking Here. Sorry about that little glitch at the beginning, but you know what? That's life. Life happens whether you like it or not. We have a really good show here today. The title of the show is The Art of Managing Your Mind. And I can't tell you how many comments I've gotten from people. What the hell does that mean? Managing your mind. And it's amazing that people are asking me that question because I think it's at the very core of how successful and how happy you're going to be in every facet of your life on any given day throughout your entire life. It's all about, can you manage your mind? So I'm going to hold that thought right there, and we're going to get into this in more detail. And I'm going to bring up my team, my co-host. First, I'm going to bring up Bruce, the director, producer who screwed up the beginning.
So actually, I figured out what happened was I was doing some work earlier today. And who's this show being brought to you by the way?
Oh, yeah, Conversations with Bob. So I guess I screwed that up, right?
And where can we find more about that?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, hey, by the way, Bruce, did folks share this? Bruce, did you share this for me on my Facebook and all that?
I will. I'll do that as soon as I go off.
Bruce, come on! You're supposed to be doing all this stuff. What up with that? I'm getting a text message from my dear Lori Ficken.
Yeah, this is what happens when.
Yes, there is a podcast tonight, Lori. Why aren't you watching?
This is what happens when you take a month off. You kind of the vibe kind of breaks up.
Yeah. Well, do me a favor, post it because people are texting me right now. They want to know if there's a show tonight.
Yeah, actually, when we go live, there's an automatic feed for anybody who has subscribed or liked your page. So if you haven't liked the Steve Rizzo page or the YouTube channel, or I connected with him on LinkedIn, because all three of those channels, you will get a notification. Because I just got one here that says Steve Rizzo's Attitude Adjuster is live. And because I subscribe to your channel.
So everybody that's been on the show consistently, like my friend Lori, she should have gotten that link then, right?
Yeah, as soon as the show goes live, Facebook sends it out.
Okay. All right. Well, she didn't get it, apparently. I don't know what's going on.
It takes about a minute, which is why we have that 1 minute intro for the live.
Oh, I get it. I get what you're saying.
But then again, then if they don't tune in right at the beginning of the show, they miss your voice impressions.
Okay, so isn't there a way that we can? I'm sorry, folks, that we're doing this now, but we're going to get this over with.
No, we're actually. Wait
a minute, listen.
We're watching.
Isn't there a way that people can see the whole beginning without it missing the whole front of the show?
Yeah, they got to get here early. They got to be here at 6:59 Eastern time. So when the show goes live, they're there when the show starts.
Oh, okay.
But if they forget about it and they have to wait for the notification, then they miss it. So it's better to be.
There's got to be a better way of doing this. There's got to be a better way of doing this that they can just watch the beginning and the countdown and the whole thing beforehand. Am I right?
Yeah. So what you do, what people out there watching this, do what I do. I put it on my calendar, and every week I get a 5-minute notification before the show starts, which is why I'm here 5 minutes before the show starts.
I get that. I get that. So let's remind people all the time to put it on their calendar. Okay.
Yep.
No, that's
There you
cool.
go.
Because you know me, I'm not tech savvy. I just do the show. I'm gifted with other talents.
They also can subscribe to your newsletter if they haven't done that already.
Yeah, right. The Rizzogram, the steverizzo.com subscribe thing. That's a
Yep.
good thing. Let's bring up my wonderful co-host.
Yeah, she's asleep.
She's probably laughing her
she's
out.
Hey,
Yeah,
look
this
who's
is
talking
why we
here.
need to bring
You have this all figured out. Let's go.
Hey, I'm sleeping here.
Hey, I'm sleeping here. Just a little nap.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
this is
that's
why we
too
need to
fun.
bring her on early, so to keep the show moving along.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, anyway, Kellyanne, we manage our money. Why wouldn't we manage our mind? Great point, Kellyanne. There's Lori.
Sorry.
I'm glad you're on, Lori. Love you. Folks, anyway, all kidding aside, now that we got the glitches almost fixed, I want to explain to you all what I mean by manage your mind. And it is so crucial. It's a key to success and happiness on every level of your life. It seems to be part of the human condition for most of us to make challenging situations more difficult than it has to be. And this is done by the way we identify with our challenges, the self-talk that we give ourselves, the stories that we're adding to the situation that we're not even aware of what we're saying to ourselves. Yeah. Things like you're setting out to achieve a goal. Okay, everything's going fine. You invested a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money to achieve this goal. Everything's going smooth. A month or two goes by, and all of a sudden, you're confronted with a challenge. Now, with some people, it could be a minor challenge or a major challenge. Anyway, it's a challenge. It's a challenging situation. Yeah. And what most people do is they do, oh, I can't believe this. Everything was going fine. Now, all of a sudden, it's not. Every time I try to do something, this happens all the time. I'm always going 2 steps up. I'm going 3 steps back. Why is it that everyone else has what I'm trying to do? I know I shouldn't have invested in this time because every time I tried to do something like this, it never works out. All this time, all this energy, and all this money for what? This is what a lot of people call negative self-talk. I call it self-curse talk because you're casting a spell on your life. And if there is anything that's going to keep you from achieving your goals, it's going to be because of self-curse talk. If there's anything that's going to keep you from being creative and productive to turn things around, it's because of self-curse talk. If you're having a difficult time enjoying yourself during the process of whatever it is you're trying to achieve, it is because of self-curse talk. You literally have to think about what you're thinking and what you're saying to yourself on a continual basis, because those thoughts are creating the way that you feel. And those feelings will eventually lead to the actions that you take. 100%. If you can control that, excuse me?
100%.
Yeah.
Perception is your reality. And if you're perceiving things as always a challenge and all of that, you're going to get more of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And the scary thing about it, Deb, is that most people aren't aware that there is this part of them. It's become a part of so much who they are. And they actually believe that it's true.
Yeah.
And your subconscious doesn't know the difference between true or false. Your subconscious runs, as you heard me say a million times, runs 97% of your life. Your subconscious, I call the genie of your soul. And if you're saying things like my life never works every time this happens, your subconscious, the genie of your soul, is going, yeah, your wish is my command. You're right. Your life never does work.
Yeah.
And you're always making the mistakes. And every time a slight little thing happens to you, you blow it out of proportion. Now, I know some people right now might be saying, well, what if it's a really intense challenge? The same principles, the same strategies holds true. It's the story that you're telling yourself that makes it worse than what it has to be. Some people cannot let go of that self-curse talk. They can't see the light, beyond the dark tunnel. They can't see it.
Yeah. Also, sometimes it's just short term. Usually when I'm playing a chess game, I go into the chess game kind of nervous, thinking I'm going to lose. and then you then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you going in saying I'm going to win, and you still lose, well, it's just a game. So, but I really get nervous playing chess, and I don't know why. I mean, basically, there's no real stress. There's no money on the line. It's just a game.
Yep.
And usually these games like run between 3 and 10 minutes, but still you get really involved with it, and your mind just races.
Yes. And it goes into that negative zone because
Yeah.
all you need to do, that's all you need to do is say that one thing. And this is what I want everyone to get. Here we go again. Soon as you say that one sentence with the emotional distraught that you're saying it in, here we go again, you open up the door to the negative zone and you start inviting more like thoughts to come into play. When that happens, now you're entering the negative zone and more thoughts are coming into play. Now the door is closed and you're stuck in the negative zone. And those thoughts, because the thoughts that you have on a consistent basis will create the beliefs you have about that challenge. And your beliefs write the story of your life. Now you believe that life is screwing you again because it did in the past, and it did in the past, and it did in the past. And your past comes up to the future, to what's happening in that present moment, and it's solidifying that you're screwed, and you always will be. And that's what separates those who succeed and are genuinely happy throughout their lives from those who consistently fail. And it's all based on your thought process and what you're saying to yourself. What you think is what you get, and what you say out loud is what you ask for.
I have a story.
I hope you would tell this because it's
so fresh. It's so fresh too.
Tell the whole thing from the beginning.
Okay, I'm going to. But what I want to say first is managing your mind. So we manage our routine, our schedules, our kids' schedules. We manage our businesses. We manage friendships, all of these different things. But how many times do we go off the rails when something happens? And we might even go toward the worst case scenario. And the story I want to tell you guys is at the beginning of the week, I think it was Tuesday, actually, just Tuesday. Maybe Monday. I don't know. I got a call from my doctor, and he said that they saw some things that were suspicious on my mammogram. And I was just like, okay. And he said, we would like for you to come back on Thursday. So that's today. And I said, okay. And he said, we're going to do a couple of different tests, and we're going to also do an ultrasound. And I was like, okay, well, what? And, you don't know until you do more tests. So they can't really give you an educated answer. So I kind of gave me a sick feeling in my stomach immediately. And I sat there for a second after I hung up the phone, and I started to think, oh my gosh, what if this is cancer? What? And one of my best friends just had cancer in December, and it was a whole thing of me kind of feeling for her and seeing all that she had gone through. And I was just it made it very real for me too. And so I started thinking too much. And I kept telling myself, Debbie, you know nothing yet. Stay positive. And if something happens that it is, I'll deal with those thought processes then. So I was doing really well. But as I would go through my day, it would creep back in some negative thoughts about what if this happens? And what if they tell me this? And what's actually, how bad is it? And no. And I would say, okay, everything that I've learned, especially over the last several years, I have really practiced keeping myself on the track and not derailing into negative thought processes. So basically, learning to manage my mind and not allow my thoughts to become my reality. I didn't have the information yet. So I kept myself pretty much in check, but I can't lie. It's underlying a nervous kind of energy. So you guys aren't going to believe this. And Steve and Bruce, I didn't even tell you this before the show. So my husband said, I want to take you. And I said, I would like that. And then my daughter was even going to meet me at my appointment. He's racing around. He had cases all morning. He came to pick me up. We start on our way, and his tire basically blew up. So we're stuck on the side of the road. And and then you want to talk about derailing and going like off the rails. I was like, oh my God, I'll even have to get my appointment. And I was an hour away from my appointment. And so I started to do I'm screwed. I'm going to miss my appointment. And I'm afraid he's going to get clipped on the side of the road, putting a spare on. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I thought, calm down. I'm going to call my friend. She said she was going to Columbus today. I called her. She's like, oh, no big deal. I'll come and pick you up. She came and swooped me up, dropped me off at my appointment. My daughter met me. My husband went and got his tire fixed. It all worked out. Now, let me tell you, I had a lot of tests today, and there was a lot of clicking and a lot of test taking, and I was breathing heavily. My heart was racing. All of these thoughts that were creeping in during that time. And I had to pray, talk myself back off of that cliff. And I thought so much about one of my best friends who just had gone through this. Mine ended up being benign. They are 98% sure. And I kept thinking, in my mind, I kept thinking about all the people that get the different answer, right? But I think the fact that the name of the show today is managing your mind, man, I'm going to tell you something. I was really managing it because it was very high stress. And I got great news. So what would I have done had I not? I was preparing myself even for that. When they come in, and if they say that, start with what steps I need to take to help myself.
Wow.
And I was telling myself that.
Wow.
But it's life. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do because it's fresh, it's raw. I just went through this today. Just got home an hour ago.
Well, there were no coincidences. I didn't know what the name of the show was going to be. Something the way you and I work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and I said, managing your mind. It's so important. And then when you texted me and then we discussed what you were going through, I immediately loved your attitude because your email and everything to me was just, this is what it is. I'm not concerned. And you put in parentheses, not that much anyway. But I think because of what your initial response was, even if it would have been a different type of news, I still think you would have mustered up enough energy to say, smart enough to accept it, that this is what it is. Yeah. It's not good, but it's not the end of the world. And the fact you probably would have been saying things to yourself like, I go for checkups every 6 months to a year. So if it is, they caught it in time and blah, blah. You would look at the alternatives, the positives. That's managing your mind. A lot of people would start looking at their history. My mom had this. My sister had this. Of course, I'm going to have it. And it's doomsday before you even find out. That's my point. And we could end this show right now with what you just said and people get it. But I just thank you so much for saying what you just said. Look at all the wonderful comments you're getting, which is just another reason why I love you so much. But okay, this I said, I made this statement before. This is not just with something what you were just experiencing, and Bruce just ignited something within me before, and he was talking about playing chess, and his mind was just going. Folks, I mean this. Managing your mind is involved in every facet of your life. Whether you're taking care of the children, there's a lot of stress in the house. I remember, I'm a big football fan. I love the National Football League. And one of my favorite players, who wasn't considered one of the best, but it was, oh my God, I just forgot his name.
He's my favorite.
No, he was the very religious guy, the Christian.
Is his name Troy? No.
God, somebody help me here. Come on, folks. Anyway, he was the quarterback on the Denver Broncos. Okay. He just became the quarterback that year. That team that team was in last place the year before.
Yeah.
Was in last place. That year when he became quarterback, and all the critics were saying he doesn't have the strategies, he doesn't, even though he won the Heisman Trophy in football in college, he just had a reputation that he wasn't the greatest quarterback. But what
Peyton Manning.
he did have, what?
Peyton Manning.
No.
He wasn't religious.
No, it wasn't Peyton Manning.
Elway.
No, he was
Morton?
the quarterback. What?
Morton, Plummer.
I can't believe I forgot his name.
Okay, so
anyway, he was quarterback that year, and he took him to the playoffs. Not because he was a great quarterback. His optimism, his belief in himself and in the power of people was insane. He took them to the playoffs. They were in last place the year before. And I remember sometimes they put microphones on the players, and it was in the playoffs, and the wide receiver that he threw it to dropped the ball 3 times, and the third time he dropped it, it was in the end zone. It would have been a touchdown. And the player was sitting on the bench like this.
Mm-hmm.
He was like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he was you could talking to himself, negative curse talk, berating himself. And he sat next to him. The quarterback sat next to him and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I blew it, man." He goes, "You could tell he's saying all this." And he goes, "You didn't blow it." He goes, "I will tell you this, though. If you expect me to throw it to you again, you got to get rid of this mindset, because you will miss it again." He goes, "Why don't you focus on the fact that if it wasn't for you last week and the week before, we wouldn't be in the playoffs."
Ooh,
because you thought that's managing your mind. And after he gave this guy that confidence, he managed his mind. And that's what he focused on. You see, folks, it's what you focus on.
Yeah. And you know what? That's also a good point, though, because it took someone else. Sometimes we can be the person or the thought processes to help people get back on track with being positive. And sometimes it might be difficult to say to somebody, you know, you're kind of doing yourself in right now with your thought patterns.
Yes.
You know, because people will get offended, but then you're really doing them a favor, because if they take enough time to say, I guess I am, I need to be a little bit more positive. And it's always funny to me how people will say that positive crap. Like, well, if that's the way you feel, you know, you can tell the people who have more of a positive mindset, even when crap's going wrong, they can still manage their life too, not just their minds. But I wanted to say something. It was really, when you were talking about the football players, Dalton doesn't watch me on any of my podcasts anyway, so I'm going to tell on him. So this is my son. We always said he was a trainer, but not a competitor. And what we meant by that was he was so athletic and so good. And then he would get in a track meet, and his times were not good, but his times while training were. And it was this. It was him getting in his own mind. And if, you know, he was the fastest guy, if somebody freaked him out a little bit and got up on him, sometimes they would beat him, because he let the negative part, like, oh, I'm feeling tired now. Oh, I don't know. And nerves and the whole thing and the whole package kept him from being as great as he could have been. So managing your mind is not just about managing bad news. It's also managing life in general, anything in your life, whether that's exercise, being an athlete. I mean, a lot of athletes have to go to athlete psychologists. To help them, you know?
And that's the key. And well said. So I know a lot of listeners right now are just saying, well, how do you overcome it? The key is to become aware of what you're doing to yourself. You have to become aware of what you're doing to yourself. So let's just say you're, you know, like that player that was sitting on the bench. Soon as you talk to him, I'm sorry?
Tim Tebow is
Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow. That was it. Oh my God. Thank you. I was going to, so I hit myself in the head.
Tebow, that's it. I remember him now.
Well, but the guy was Mr. Optimism. And
Yeah.
that's what brought them. He took a mediocre team to the playoffs because he wouldn't allow anyone to fall into the negative zone. And it's contagious. It's
I love
contagious.
that. That makes a good leader.
So yes, the key is, and that's where great leaders are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at so many of your leaders today in business. They're the ones that know how to manage the team's mind, to
Yeah.
give them the incentive to think optimistic. Yes, this is challenging, but there's something within us that could meet this. But the key is that you have to become aware of what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're in a situation where maybe you were doing the alternative when you found out that you had to get this test, and you're going, oh my God, what am I going to do? What if this is this? And you stayed there and it snowballed and snowballed. Yeah. And all of a sudden you became aware and you go, whoa. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, in that moment of awareness, that negative curse talk, that self-curse talk stops, because your brain can't focus on two things at the same time. It stops immediately. All of that negativity stops. And in the middle of that, you're in a state where now you can shift your way of thinking to think of alternative ways on how to look at this, and take that deep breath and just say, okay, this is not going to be conducive for me to make anything better. And you start focusing on alternatives. Well, I don't know anything yet. Like you said to yourself, I don't know. This could be absolutely nothing. And if it is, there's something within me that could meet this. I'll take it one step at a time. People do this in line in every facet of their life. They're in line at a grocery store. Yeah. And you're driving to work and you say to yourself, oh, I'm leaving early. I have time to go food shopping. I can get what I have to get done now. I don't have to do it after work. So you go into the supermarket, you're in line, and there's a person in front of you that's just taking their time, or the cashier has no idea what the hell they're doing, and they're having a conversation, and you're going, I can't believe this. Yeah. And now you are in that good mood, and all of a sudden you start going, I can't believe this. I don't know why I go to the store. Every time I go online, this happens all the time. Look at this idiot. She won't shut the hell up. Just give the woman a growth. And before you know it, now you are in a bad mood. Yeah. You didn't even, it's not even, and now you're going to work with that attitude.
That's right. And let's just say this, you ruminating and being ticked off about the lady in front of you is not going to make the line move any quicker.
No. And that's what you got to say to yourself.
Yeah. And
you can't control what happens, but you control how you think about what happens.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. What about how you go off the rails and let your mind wander into the negative zone about other people? And like, if they like you, if they did this, if you're not invited to something, How many times do we hear people say, I don't know, I think that this person doesn't like me, and I think that they said this and that, and really, I think you got to remember what you think, your thoughts. Those are your thoughts. Is that really what the other person thinks?
Exactly. It's your problem.
It's our problem if we think that, because it's our thoughts. Did that person tell you, I didn't invite you because I didn't want you there?
Yeah.
Well, then, right? There's no more thought processes on that. But if you're just making stuff up in your own mind, it's not what they said.
That's why the opening statement was, managing your mind it's part of the human condition to make challenging situations worse than what it has to be.
Hi, Jennifer. On the mind spiral. I love it.
I was just thinking of you before the show, but I didn't have time to say hop on at any time you want to.
Funny.
So good to see you. But no, you're right. And it's a key to success and happiness. I know a woman very well who complains about this one woman at work that just irks her. And this woman will insist that this person that irks her has the problem. And I'm saying, is it bothering you? She goes, yeah, because I said, well, then it's your problem. No, it's what she's doing. Holy shit. It's amazing what we do to ourselves. If I want to go up to sometimes, I go, come here. Now you have another problem.
Yeah. Let me step on your toe. You have a little something. But it's managing your mind. Like, this is deep. We could go down a whole rabbit hole of explaining this. Like, does anyone that's watching, look, Joe Ingram, has Steve found it yet? He's already been on Find It. So yeah, he has.
Yeah, it's Tim Tebow. I think that's what he's talking about. I think.
Oh, maybe
he's talking about something else.
Yeah.
Oh, Find It with Debbie Bettendorf. That's your show.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on
But,
Wednesdays.
you
Yeah.
can go down a whole thought process of emotion. And it brings up a physical response
Oh,
even.
yeah.
When you start going off the rails like that,
Yep.
I mean, just like I told you, my heart was racing today. I was feeling like I couldn't breathe, waiting on the results, and I had to continuously tell myself, I don't know anything yet, and when I do find out, I'll take it one day at a time. It's
Yeah.
okay right now. I
Yeah.
need to just stay calm. Don't think of all the negative things that can happen. Just be present.
Yes.
And we're human beings, so it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
So when we're telling people this stuff, like I was telling Steve before the show, so you guys know, and he knows this, my 20 and 30-year-old self would have completely come unglued about this appointment I had today. I
Yeah.
mean, I would have saw myself dying and all this stuff. But I kept with practice and what Steve, you said, this is the huge part. Self-awareness. Being aware of what you're doing to yourself. We all do it, but those of us who can recognize it, stop it, regroup, take your breaths, do the brisk walk, whatever you need to do for you to shift into a more positive mindset is the number one first thing you need to do. Tip of
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
Catch yourself doing it and
Yeah.
knock it off.
And it can't be done right away. And I know this.
Yeah.
You have first step number one is become aware, and you go, holy shit, I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
You take a couple of deep breaths, and a lot of things, something I'll teach you people right now. Even if you're at a supermarket, if you're online at the airport, and as soon as you feel that you're getting emotionally distraught and you're saying this stuff, just hold your hands out. And when you do that, you can
Bring
actually
your hands
feel,
up. Are you doing
you
it
could,
like this?
yes, you could actually feel energy in your hands right
Yeah.
now. Do you feel it? You can feel like electricity in your hands.
I love.
Shut up,
And
Deb.
before the show, he
You
had
can,
a pre-party. Now I can feel it.
you could feel this energy,
Yeah, you definitely
right?
can now.
And then when you feel that that's your authentic self, that's the higher part of you saying there are other alternatives. And you just give it a chance and you gradually just say, this is where I am right now. I can't change this, but I can change the way that I feel about it. And I've seen people do this at airports, Debbie. Oh,
I
man,
was
that's
going
why
to say,
people
if
snap.
we ever log on and Steve's doing this, I'm going to be like, I'll see you later.
All of a sudden, I'm Gandhi. This is what
Yeah.
you got to do. You put your hands out. You can feel the electricity in your hands. Yes.
I love it. No, but you know what? Listen, this is great stuff. It's the weight of the world that you're feeling.
Exactly. I got the whole world in my hands.
Yeah, but it's so true. If anyone listening and on replay, we're joking around and we're having fun with this, but this
Yeah.
is so true. This is
It's a
good
key.
stuff.
It's a state of feeling good on any given day is the fuel that drives motivation and inspiration. Your feelings, your emotions are like gauges, they're signals, they're an emotional guidance systems that are notifying you that your day isn't going well, your life isn't going well. And if you could acknowledge that, why would you want to continue to feel that way? So
Mhm.
now that you're feeling that way and you don't want to feel that way, you got to say, where are these feelings coming from? Well, it's apparently what you've been thinking or what you've been saying to yourself. It's like I said
Mhm.
earlier, what you think is what you get. What
Yeah.
you say out loud is what you ask for. So if
Mhm.
you change what you're thinking and you change what you're saying to yourself, you gradually start feeling better. The more you do this in every situation and have the patience to do it, the more it becomes a part of who you are. And you are, in time, creating a new habit and a new way to view your entire life.
Yeah. It's so true. It is absolutely. I mean,
Thank you.
even like with let me take a time out. I'm feeling the energy.
I don't
It's
like I don't
true
like you
though.
right now. Shut
And
up. Go ahead.
when you're in yoga and different things, and they have you like different
Yes.
mudras, and then you hold different. I know Jennifer knows all about this, I'm sure, and the different thing, and it's just about you know being aware, bringing yourself back into just peacefulness and grounding yourself and all of this stuff to help you manage your mind, because just telling someone, get it together, dude, you're going
that's the worst thing you can say.
Yeah, say something, oh, get it together. What's wrong with you? Why are you? No, that doesn't work. But it's so funny. My kids, I've raised them to try to stay positive, and they sometimes I get on their nerves because they're like, I'm having a bad day. Can I just have a bad day? And I'm like, yeah, it's a bad day. But if you don't want it to continue to be a bad day, maybe we'll just, I'm their mom. So I'm annoying. It's my job. I do a very good job. I'm the CEO of annoying. I do really well. But they now will catch me sometimes because it's such on the front part of their brain. Like I may say something I don't even know, and they'll go, "That doesn't sound very positive," and I'm like, "You're right.
Yeah.
You're right." So it's good. We need to remind one another in a nice way. Oh, but look at this side of it. This happened. But what about this?
Yeah. No, my granddaughter. I don't know if I told you guys this before. Maybe I did. About a month ago, I was there, and I was not in the greatest mood, and it was obvious. It was obvious. So she comes up to me. She's a little 9-year-old, and I talk about her a lot, and I love her. And she comes up to me, and she puts my book right in front of me. Conversations with Bob, and she pats me on the shoulder. She goes, "Pop, I think you should read chapter 3 and chapter 5 in the book." And she goes, "Because apparently you're upset today, and I think if you read what you wrote, you might feel better." And she wouldn't leave until I started reading. I know.
81. Let's see.
So, but anyway, doing this, folks, for those of you who are
together,
if you do this, you could feel the energy in your hands. That means there's more to you than what you think there is. And when you feel that energy, that's your authentic self, your higher self telling you to chill and start thinking in different ways.
I'm just going to read one. Okay, so on page 12, it's just where Bernie is kind of going off the rails, where he says, no one cares, he thought. No one has any consideration for others. And it's not just strangers either. Don't even get me started on partnering with friends and business. It's so true what people say. People are awful and awfully stupid. And it goes on because this is on Bernie's rant. But the quote in the middle from Bob, who we know who Bob is, says this type of pessimistic dialogue destroys any chance at success and happiness. B.O.B.
And that is a fact. That is the crux. That is the main problem.
That's a fact, Jack.
With the human condition, you got to get your shift together.
You have to get your shift together.
You got to shift your way of thinking.
Come on now.
And you see it at airports all the time. I'm flying all the time, man.
You're gone all the time.
Ooh, and the captain gets on the plane and goes, "Well, folks, it looks like we got something wrong with the plane. We're going to ask everyone to get off until we find out what the problem is." Okay. I don't know why they talk like that anyway. I think they go to Captain School 101. How you doing,
Let's
folks?
hold the...
He always comes on he comes on the PA system. Right now we're flying 35,000 feet. And
some do it worse. Some do it more exaggerated than others. And when you get those, it makes me laugh. I look around like, does anybody else think this is funny? It's hilarious.
Yeah. So you know there's something wrong with the plane, and everyone has to get off, and they have to get on the next flight. And there's one line. There's 17 people in front of you, and there's one ticket agent trying to handle everyone. People start off good, but there's always that one person in front of you. You could hear it. All of a sudden, it starts off like he's trying to be calm, and you see a shoulder like this, right? And all of a sudden you hear, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Right? And then it comes out. I can't believe this. I don't know why I give this airlines my money. Anyway, I can't believe 17 people in front of me, one ticket agent. This is absolute. I wish that woman would keep her child quiet. I always say, if you can't handle your children, you shouldn't bring them anywhere. He's blaming the world.
And you know what else about this? When someone who might be on the bubble of going off also, that's all it takes is one person to start ranting and raving,
and everyone else starts doing it.
Other people start, and likewise, and the opposite is true.
Yeah.
If somebody just says, well, if there's something wrong with the plane, I'd rather them fix it. Let's go have a coffee or, whatever, instead
Exactly.
of being, and then everybody feeds off of one another. It's just a
Yeah.
good reminder to say, before I start being the one vocal in a negative way,
Well, energy is right there.
it's
Yeah.
right there. It's right
It's right
here.
there.
It's right
Yeah.
here, Steve.
It's,
I got it. I got the energy right here.
I am. I love seeing you guys. Thank
We
you,
love
Jen.
seeing you
Love seeing
too.
you. Joe Ingram. Jennifer Gittleman, thank you. But
He's answering to Jennifer like that message was to him.
oh yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah. Good, Joe. Yeah, tell me what happens when you wake up there, pal.
Actually, I control everyone's motivation and emotional well-being. Joe
Yeah.
Ingram,
Yeah.
also
Okay.
AI. That maybe his AI created that message for him.
I'm sure it did.
He's
I'm
an
sure it
AI
did.
genius.
Absolute ingenious.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So, folks, that's what we meant at the beginning of the show when we say we make challenging situations worse than what it has to be, and you don't realize you're doing it. It's become a part of who you are. It's a part of your personality. You wake up in the morning, you have a day planned, it starts raining. Oh, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. Every time I have a day off, it rains. It figures. Wonder what else is going to happen. Law of attraction will answer you, because the more you focus on what isn't working, the more your life won't work.
Yeah.
And then you'll go for a walk that day and you're stepping dog shit or something. Oh, I know this was going to happen. Rain and dog shit. That's my life.
It's so true. It's so true. And we all have been guilty of it at some point. I mean, we have.
Yeah, but the thing is, what we're letting people know is there's an alternative.
Yeah.
And I know there are some people going, well, you don't know what I'm going through. No, I don't. But I also know that you probably are, I would say most definitely, making a situation worse than what it has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the people that I met in my life. Christopher Reeve, who was paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah.
He went into that negative zone, but he also found an alternative. What he did with his life in the last 9 years in that condition was insane.
I know. That was absolutely inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so inspiring.
He shifted his way of thinking. His greatest quote was, "My life isn't what I thought it was going to be, but there is joy, there is love, and there is laughter." And those are the things he focused on, the people that cared for him. And what he did in the last 9 years of his life in that condition is more than what most people I know can do in a lifetime. And he did it in that condition.
And he even told you
Yeah.
that the last 9 years, well, after the accident, he had done more good than he in the world.
Yes.
Through him than he had done prior, all the years prior in his life. That was a big statement.
But well, he told his wife after 3 days of being in that condition, when they told him the severity, he wanted to pull the plug, and because he was on a breathing machine.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not going to be worth anything to anyone. And Dana said to him, she lied down next to him and said, no, you're still you. Give it time before you make that decision. And it was 3 days later when he saw his kids for the first time, and it was next to her, he saw the look on their faces that they still needed him. And when he found out that was the first thing he held on to that he was grateful for. And he held on to that with a passion. And he found other stuff that he was grateful for. And before you know it, he spent 9 years and in that condition, just making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
That's my point. And I think that's a valid point.
It is a valid point. And that story is so inspirational. I hope plenty of people hear that, because when we're talking about, but you don't know what I'm going through, it doesn't get a whole lot worse than what Christopher Reeves had gone through.
Yeah.
And he found a way out of negativity.
Yes. And what my brother went through.
Right.
You know, my brother, he's the biggest inspiration of my life. I witnessed it firsthand.
Yeah.
You know, and he fought in a war that we never should have been in.
Right.
The Vietnam War, they weren't represented at all. As a matter of fact, they were ridiculed after the war. You entered a war that you shouldn't have been in.
Yeah.
You know, 58,000 lives died for nothing, according to most people. But he didn't look at it from that perspective. He looked at it from the point that when he was a kid, he joined the Marines because he thought his country needed him. History proved him wrong. But he said, now I was faced with another set of choices. I can either get angry at my country and for what happened to me, or I could say, now I'm set with another set of choices. I'm not a a fortune teller. I didn't have a crystal ball. I can't tell what the future reads. At that point in my life, I made the right decision. Now history proved me wrong. Now I'm set with another set of choices. What do I have to do to turn my life around to live the life that I want to live in my condition? That's a choice. That's a mind shift. That's a different way of thinking. And we all have the power to do it. That's what managing your mind is all about.
Manage that mind. Let's go. Very touching. It is, Laurie. All of it.
Yep.
You.
Did Ken Walls just say good morning?
Good morning, afternoon, evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, Ken, go back to sleep. See you later.
He's starting the day. You know what he's doing? He's being positive. He's like, it's been such a great day. We're going to do it again. Yeah, all that. Jennifer Getterman, you should write a book about your brother's legacy.
Oh,
yes, right. Jennifer, we'll get him right on that.
Actually, I should. I know he's in my book, Jennifer, that Jeffrey wrote, the forward to Get Your Shift Together. His story is in that book, but you're right. I should write an entire book on, I know what the title should be. My Brother, My Hero.
There you go.
Thank you, Jennifer. Gee, that's another book. I'll add that to the 30 that I have to write.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now my brain hurts. Wow, this was a great show. And folks, thank you for all your comments. Jennifer Getterman, thank you for being on the show. Ken, I will see you later on your show.
Get your shift together, Ken.
Yes, I will. I will, Ken. And by the way, don't tell me what to do. Don't ever tell me what to do. All right. That's why nobody likes you. All right. I'm just letting you know right now.
And my nickname for Steve.
Oh, Mr. Bossy Pants?
Yeah. Nobody tells me what to do. I tell you what to do.
You always have
Mr. Bossy Pants.
You always have the last word, no matter what argument or disagreement we have.
Yeah.
And I just, when you say that final thing, with all my years of experience of being a stand-up comedian, I don't know how to respond, so I don't.
Well, maybe you do, but it might be so.
You'll say something better, and that's what pisses me off. I don't want to give you that much credit. I won't do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right, folks. Thank you, and Deb, I am so glad that the test came back the way that they did, and I am so proud of you. I'm so happy for you, and I know you knew that my thoughts and prayers were with you the whole way.
Oh, I do. I did. I felt all the prayers, and I know you were the first person to text me and find out what was going on. I was like, "Oh, God love you."
All right, don't stop me.
Bob love you. I mean,
Bob
love you.
Yeah, Bob right now is patting me. I feel him. That a boy. Bob
that
said,
boy. Well, wait. I'm feeling the energy. Let me feel the energy. Gosh, you must be close to Bob because I have to do this. You felt a pat on the back.
I know.
Bob. That's awesome.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. We will see you on the 15th. I think it's the 15th of June, where our guest will be Lisa Perna. She was on before. And I think the title is going to be Spirituality and a Sense of Humor.
That is a great duo.
And if you can't wait 2 weeks,
that's what's in here. Oh,
tune into the podcast weekly.
Yes. What weekly? What are you talking about?
The podcast comes out weekly every Tuesday. New podcast.
Oh yeah, tell them about that. That's the audio. Tell them, please, Bruce.
Yeah, new podcast, which is the best of the best of all the shows.
Yes, that'll be every week. You can get it on Spotify and there they are: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podchaser. Oh, tune in, plus Alexa, and
all I got to do is talk to your audio device and say, "Play Steve Rizzo's Hey, I'm Talking Here."
Yeah, that's all you have to do. Just play Steve Rizzo's Hey, I'm Talking Here. And you'll hear Debbie and I bantering about stuff.
Yeah, we like it. So are we going to have music to take us out? Da-da-da, boom, boom.
Ken Walls wants you better be on Grow Live Academy.
I better go to class. No cutting class, Ken said.
Good night, Lori. Freaking love you.
Freaking love you, dudes.
Freaking love you,
people.
Freaking
love the people on
it's
here.
It's all about love. Wait a minute, everyone together.
Love. I gotta nee. I gotta work on my accent so we can do our bit.
Oh, we got to do the show like that with Brooklyn people. Well, we got to do that. Bruce, you got to write this stuff down because we forget.
Listen, Bruce is like, let me just remember how to do the intro first before I start writing
Yeah.
up.
So what happened was I was running some other videos today and just exporting out audio only because I didn't need the audio, and I left the settings on audio only or video only, so there's no audio on the video.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
we
next
have to
time
sing
I will
along.
fix it. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch the beginning of the show.
Yeah. It was pretty funny. We improv'd it pretty good anyway because I'm a
Yeah.
genius. I'm a
You
genius.
are a genius. I took a little nap while they figured it out.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, I don't know how you had that pillow ready. That amazes me.
I'm sitting on a bunch of them, so I just
Oh,
picked one up.
good
So,
for you.
okay.
All right, I love you both. Love you
Yeah.
both. Debbie, we'll keep in touch.
Yes, manage your mind.
Matt,
Manage it.
don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do. Last word. Nah, nah, nah.
See you
Cut it,
folks
Bruce.
later. Stay on. Stay.